day it is today. I live here on the West Coast, and we've got beautiful, beautiful sunshine today. It's a great day to have a webinar. Now, this is Carol Vickers calling from, this is Carol Vickers on the line from Empower Consulting Group, and we have the pleasure of working with Practice Pay Solutions. Practice Pay Solutions, as you know, provides a valuable suite of business services that were inspired by rising professionals like everyone on the call today. And we understand that to ensure the growth of your business, you need to simplify day-to-day processes. So that's what Practice Pay really does take time to do. They also dedicate themselves to the success of your enterprise so you have time to develop the real art of your practice. And what you realize is that they provide things like seamless deposits to your merchant account, automated recurring billing, and secure fraud protection. Definitely more professional than your average PayPal, and there are mobile pay options available. So for years they have supported members with education, and this is one of the opportunities that we have today is with this wonderful presenter we have. Sheri Keys is the mother of four. She's a best-selling author, an inspirational speaker, an activist, a painter, and the CEO of the Institute of Energy-Based Health, LLC, and Network Building Academy. Her companies have over 60,000 women subscribers, followers, and members. Sheri speaks to worldwide audiences, inspiring them with her story of survival and triumph. She was the only child of a homeless mother and left at age 17 to work her way through 2 college degrees and eventually building a multiple 7-figure business while raising 4 children. Sheri was recently named as the number 12 most influential woman on Twitter. Sheri has appeared on CBS, NBC, Fox, San Antonio Living, NPR, and was featured in many business publications, including Women Entrepreneur, and she was featured on the cover of Dare magazine twice, along with other strong and brilliant women like Olivia Newton-John, Jane Fonda, Pink, and many more. We are delighted to have Sheri with us today and invite you to sit back and enjoy her presentation. Sheri, I thank you so much for being here and sharing your brilliance with us. And just to let the audience know that we will be taking questions later on in the presentation. So if you'd like to put your questions in the chat box, I will make sure that Sheri has an opportunity to answer them at the end. Sheri, please take it away.
Wonderful, and there a little bit here and there you were going out, so if that happens on this end, let me know. I don't know if it was call waiting or if you think, a beep's coming in. So I just want to make sure everybody can hear what I'm saying. So definitely let me know if everybody has a problem hearing me. And so thank you so much for having me on this call. I'm so excited and so passionate to talk about what I talk about when I talk about this network business model. A lot of people come to the table and come to this event with preconceived notions and things that they think from their world, obviously, about what they think this is going to be. And then I start to make all these connections for them. All these little synaptics start going off when I start to talk about the inside of this business model and what it is like to run this type of business model and how to really do it powerfully. And especially for people who've been in their service-based business for any amount of time, meaning you provide some type of service, and for that service, that's how you make your money. And especially if you don't have any kind of passive income built into your business model right now. And so a lot of what you're doing today, the talents that you have right now and the services that you're providing can be plugged into this type of model, and it's just a different way of thinking about yourself and really kind of making yourself more of a big fish instead of a small fish. And that kind of scares a lot of people. So I'm going to go through like my story of how I did this. And really this is just a switch of your brain. And if anyone out there has seen The Matrix, you know how they plug that awful needle thing into the neck, but then they like in a matter of minutes just plug in all this information and completely transform the person. That's what I feel like I do when I do this call with people. And so, I really just want to be here for your ahas, looking forward to the questions at the end. That's how I've really learned. I've been doing this since 2007, this particular talk, not the same exact one obviously, but I've been sharing this type of information since 2007, and I've had my own networks since 2001. And so I'll go back to that just a little bit. And what you're looking at right now is the actual Network Building Academy homepage. And if you can't see the URL up there, but you should be able to, it's networkbuildingacademy.com, so you can just go right over there. We're going to go through a lot on this page today, and I'm going to show you some videos, and I'm hoping that the sound comes through really well. Maybe Carol can open up the sound on the computers during that part when we're doing the sound for the video, so that everybody can hear it really well. But but what I wanted to talk about was, all the way back to 2001, I accidentally happened into a network model, and my first network was the National Association of Women Writers. And I started that journey just like every writer, editor, copywriter type person would, except I was doing it in a brand called the National Association of Women Writers. And so I was doing a lot of the same services and offering some same typical type products, being some of my products were the same as other really successful writers, but yet I didn't have any experience. I was in my 20s. I really didn't have any business being the founder and president of the National Association of Women Writers. I wasn't even published, and that was a question I got often until I was published. But it was that I was in this model that had all of these what I call subconscious belief systems that the business world has about it that propelled me forward. And I'm going to talk about a lot of different reasons that this business model magnetizes business quicker. It's leverageable, extremely leverageable. So the things that I was doing, I only had to do once, and then they would grow my business all the time versus a service-based business. This business model is also highly equitable, and so that was something I learned right away too. And then people would just do things for me. Other writers, other, what do you call it, the gurus in any industry will do things for the networks that they won't do for a solo-based business owner. So I only learned all of these wonderful things about this business model from being in the business model and then being alongside and serving people that were doing exactly the same thing as me, but the only difference was the business model itself. In fact, I had people, on Oprah that would come and speak, I would see them on Oprah. Literally, it's happened like 3 or 4 times. I would call them, and they would come and speak at my conferences, and they would get there, and the things that I would find out about how they made money and how I made money just blew me away. And so that's, I really started to understand that just the power of the business model and how everything can be smoke and screens out there, especially with the internet, as far as the way people make money. So I want to teach you today is like really solid business mechanics, a quick overview, because we only have so much time, about the difference between business models. And it's really going to give a lot of you ahas about your service-based business model that you're in. So that's a little bit of my history. Fast forward from the National Association of Women Writers, 10 years later, I had something called the Smart Women's Institute, which did really, really well. If you even Google that now, I think it's still up on the first or 2 pages of Google because the SEO is so well. Like I know how to do what I do well now that I can get any company up all over the internet within a matter of 2 years flat. So I do it really fast now because I know what I'm doing. And so I've had the Network Building Academy for a while. I had the Smart Women's Institute also for a while. And those are the companies I had. And then I let go of the Smart Women's Institute because my interest really went to this other area called energy-based health. And so now I'm co-owner in the Institute of Energy-Based Health and also the Network Building Academy. And so that's fast forward to today. Lots of wonderful, great, amazing things happen in between there. I think 2 more kids in there with a total of 4 kids now. And so now my oldest is about to be 19 and my youngest is about to be 8. So they're just growing really quickly. In there, I published a best-selling book, which you can see right here, and this is actually a downloadable of it, but it was best-selling on Amazon, I think 2007, and it's Smart Women Create Membership-Based Businesses. We had a lot of Smart Women books back then because we had the Smart Women's Institute, and so you can download a version of this right here free, and it's going to go a little bit deeper, but not much deeper than what I'm going to go to in the call. But if you're more of a visual person and you want to see it in print and hear a lot of the same things I'm talking about on the call, you can definitely download that there. What I wanted to do real quick, so it's a little bit of my history, what I plan to talk about on the call is to really explain more about the differences between your business, your service-based business, no matter what service-based business it's in, and the type of business that this membership model is. this network model, and then also explain to you how easy some of the changes are, but there's still a lot of information that you have to really understand. And I have a long list on this page of videos where I teach in a program everything you need to know about this business model, because there's a lot of leadership that goes into it. There's a lot of you and your mindsets. It's a big mindset piece, because what happens is you have this golden egg, and even if you brand your service-based business and you slap that network branding on it, but you don't know how to go out there and be the CEO of a network, and you don't know how to leverage in the correct way, and you don't know how to ask for what people should give you, that's where you really won't be able to take this model where it goes, because there's things that you don't even know that you can get because you've never had this much power. What I like to tell, what people say to me once they've done this is that what they felt like is the service-based business always held them back, and when they got into this model, it just felt like unlimited space, like they could really do all of these things they wanted to do because people treated them differently. People wanted to partner with them differently, and they had a lot of leverage in all types of ways that they didn't have before. But Carol, if we could, what I'd like to do is play this video. So I think if we both put our speakers on,
Sure.
it should play to where everybody can hear it. So I'll turn my speaker back on.
Okay.
And let me know when yours is on.
Have to make sure that I've got it. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, perfect.
Building a successful business is tough. Ask anybody who's done it. Technology obviously has made it a lot easier to connect with people to help the business grow. And making those connections, one of the keys to making that happen. One person who knows a lot about growing business, Sheri with the Smart Women Institute. Good to see you back this morning.
Good morning.
We were talking during the break, too, about the whole process and what you're talking about when you build a network. How do you go about building a network?
A network. So, and specifically what I'm talking about is an association, an institute, or an academy. This is a different way of thinking for most service-based business owners who are used to getting up every day and trading hours for dollars and then starting over again the next day and never having any equity to show for all their hard work and their investment of time and money they've put in. So with this model, what you're doing with every member that comes, you're doing a lot of the same work you were already doing, using some of the same creative talents you already had. But now you're doing it for the people you used to be. Now you're actually holding a space for all of those service-based business owners that you may have just spent a decade being one of. So it's kind of like you're deciding to be a leader, but what's really important with business is you're in a more powerful business model that you can actually sell off, a brand that you can sell off.
And you said that this can be applied to anything. It doesn't really matter what the product is. You can
Or
build
service.
that as, or service is. You can build that around anything.
Yes, I've been doing this for 13 years. My first company, I accidentally found this business model, and it was the National Association of Women Writers. And I had that for 10 years and 3 or 4 different model networks in between, too, at the same time. And then I started coaching people because they're like, well, how are you doing this? And what happened is I've seen professional quilters to quantum physicists start to create these networks for their people. And with the internet, it only takes 1,000 really loyal customers. If you do the Pareto's law of 80-20 rule, 20% of the people on your list or on your followers on Twitter and Facebook will be loyal and they'll purchase from you. And one of the things that we know to be true out there on the internet is it only takes 1,000 loyal followers to get you to $1 million.
How do you get them to join that that group, that association, to get them to buy into the fact that there's value in belonging to this association?
So it's digging right into their problems and providing solutions. So that's the way business has always been. If you provide solutions, make their life easier and really answer their problems, that's when they want to join. So we don't typically do something we don't need or want. And so it's really the same business rules that we've always applied. Like, I don't need another Hertz rent-a-car in my membership package, right? But I do need health insurance is a really common one. And so with a network, you're able to contact the insurance company, say, I'm this national association. My members need this. What can we do for them? So what happens for the service-based business owner is all of a sudden they have power and leverage is the word I use that they've never had before. And they know their industry really well typically because maybe they've already been in it for 5 years or 4 years or 10 years as the person inside it.
How do you put a value on that, though, as
Yeah,
the business, the individual who builds that association or organization, whatever it is? How do you put a dollar value?
Here's where I get really excited. So if you actually type in valuation out on the internet, there's all these mathematical models for different ways to evaluate companies. One of the simplest ones is membership-based companies. And it's typically taking the number of members at any given time times the entry dues. And that's your base valuation. So it becomes pretty exciting. So if you're charging, anywhere from $127 to $297, just depending on your industry, you can charge more. And then as every member comes in, you're building equity every day, and that's the base model, but that doesn't start to count all the things you can sell off, like info products, different brands. Maybe you're going to publish books along the way, and all the different things that you can do.
I got to be honest, walking into this, I told you I wasn't really sure what you were talking about.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay, wonderful.
So I'll wait for you to, I think you're back on, we have it back on mute, so wonderful.
Well.
Okay, and you were able to hear that well?
Yes, that came out very clearly.
Good, so it worked, because I have another one to show you all in a little while about something completely different. So I think that helped fill in a few more gaps. A little bit of it was exactly what I told everybody. So really what we're talking about in the way that I've taught business, and so a little bit more history would be wonderful to tell everybody, is that I've had masterminds, I think 2009 to 2012. I had year-long masterminds where people would come in. I've also had, before that, I would have different types of like 6-month programs and 4-month programs. I would have, solo coaching where I would just coach people, by themselves. So I've done a lot of teaching other people. I'm the lady kind of behind the scenes of most of the associations and networks and institutes you see out there right now. And there's a long list of people that the companies that I've been a part of down lower on this list, and it's not even, half of the people I've done. But, and the masterminds even were, $25,000 up to $100,000 to be in these year-long masterminds. So I have a lot of experience in this business model. I really kind of just want everybody to kind of know, I know what I'm talking about when we talk about this model today. But one of the really easiest ways I can tell you business, and all the calls that you've been on so far, is wherever you're at in your business is just mechanics. People fell in business because of emotions. And so once you learn the mechanics of the way business models work, and it really has never changed at all, marketing changes constantly. And so marketing is this wonderful tool that keeps just getting better and better technology around it so that we can just market even faster and communicate even quicker with people. But that changes often. But the mechanics of the way business models work, the mechanics of the way money comes in a company and out of a company, and the way that business positioning and leverage, that has worked the same since the beginning of time. So that's a lot of what I teach in this course, is that the marketing that goes along with this, the business mechanics, and then I'm going to be weaving all the time, because I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of people personally, whether they were in large groups or one-on-one or in these masterminds or over the phone. And there was lots of, we sold lots of info products over the years where people had group calls that they could call into. So I've just answered so many questions on just about every kind of network there can be. But what gets in the way is your ability to step into all the things you're meant to do. And so I weave a lot of that into this call that we're talking about today and into my teachings. And it's about personal growth. It's about, walking through your fears. It's about learning your power. And so you're combining like smart business mechanics and mindset stuff in this program. And the mechanics that I specifically talk about is a really smart business model that works for you, that positions you so well that things just happen easier. And that's what happened with me with the National Association of Women Writers. A few quick stories before I even understood what was going on. Like one year I was the top 10 best writers website. And I knew, because I was designing it myself at that time, way back when I first started, that wasn't the case. My website wasn't that great. And I went and looked at the list, and they were all kind of like people who were more successful. They were like really successful writers, and then there I was, this like startup, you know, writer's website, and there I was. The reason was is because it was the National Association of Women Writers, and we had a lot of people on our list, and we were starting to really build a following compared to all of our competitors that have been around a long time. And the reason that we were growing so much quicker is because most of my competitors were a lot older and weren't using the power of the internet at all. And I think because I was younger at that time in my 20s, and this is when the internet wasn't even, you know, as powerful as it is now, we were just moving faster because we were really using the mechanics of marketing and the internet really well, where traditional associations weren't. And so the reason that Writer's Digest magazine said that, and that's like, you know, the #1 magazine in that industry, was because they knew I would go and brag forever and ever that I was one of the top 10 websites for writers. And every time I would do that, I would mention Writer's Digest name. So what happens is my model manifested it because of the subconscious thing that happens in business. This is a mechanic, and it's one to many. So people naturally, when they're on the internet and out in the world, if they are a business person at all, and a consumer does this too, they're going to want to do business with people who have some type of community or network, because their time is better spent going one to many. Now, if they're doing the same exact service or product from a person who is a solopreneur, which many businesses are in that model, that's one-to-one. So their time and their money is always better spent when they can buy and be part of a community, because there's so many things that happen when you're part of a community. So by switching, just basically switching your service-based business, and I can tell anybody how to do that, it's just I've done this so long, but by switching your service-based business to this network model, right away you're attracting people in subconsciously and they don't even know why. And I have a little thing about why do people end up in service-based businesses. Mostly women end up in service-based businesses because they don't know any better. It's the only thing that we're exposed to when we grow up. Every woman that's around us is a service-based professional practically. It's changed a little bit. When you get to college, most women are going into all the service-based professions in schools, and then most of the men go off to the business school. And they're over there learning all about business and business models and leverage, and then they go out into the world and use all this leverage that they know about. And of course I'm generalizing, but I'm generalizing pretty much to what it is. So that's why so many women, you know, maybe you went off into the corporate world like I did. I used to work at Verizon Wireless many, many years ago. Got my master's degree while I was there. It was a wonderful experience. But there was nothing I was building, right? There was no leverage. I was just, you know, I was just providing a service and getting dollars for it. And so what happens is then, you know, this beautiful thing called the internet has exposed women to so much more information than it's ever been available to us tomorrow, and we're getting a lot smarter, a lot quicker, which is why the Dalai Lama says that the Western woman is going to change the world and save it because of this right here, this type of information that we've just never had before. So that's my little spiel on why we're here and why most of us are in service-based businesses in the first place and didn't even really know that we should be in other business models like the guys, right? Because if you look around, most of the guys are doing different types of businesses. So let's talk a little bit, I mean, and I think I've said enough already about the power of a network, just right away, the one-to-many. But let's compare some of the service-based pieces right against some of the membership-based comparisons. So your service-based business sucks up your time, right? Every day you give all this time into it. Sometimes it will be something that will actually stay around tomorrow, like some type of marketing might still be posted tomorrow. So there are certain things about a service-based business that that are somewhat leverageable. But by the inherent nature of the way a membership-based business is created, it lets you serve many at once. We don't do anything in our membership-based businesses unless it's as easy to do for 50 people as it is 5,000 and beyond, right? So everything we do is scalable, period, or we don't do it. And that little mindset switch is huge. It's just mechanics, but your mindset, the CEO, is the one that drives the mechanics, right? You only produce income for when you are working. So that's your service-based business. You're only producing the income when you're working. Membership-based business provides recurring income for years to come, even when you aren't working. month after month and year after year, because you get people coming in for their dues and then they're renewing their dues. You're selling products, and you do products, and mostly we do information products, and you sell those on payments, so then you have recurring payments hitting. You can do all kinds of different things. We do certifications, we do live events. Every once in a while I do a handful of coaching here and there. I have kids in college now, so every time a semester hits, you might find me coaching again in different areas because we have a lot of things going on. You can put books out, and just think about it. Are you going to buy the book from the solopreneur, or are you going to buy the book that a national organization puts out? So there's just so many things that happen that you can do with the network, and I'm really kind of going really fast with this because we have a lot of information to share, and I want to get to your questions too. A service-based business, as you know yourself, out on the internet just disappears against the competition. At least with a network, you're standing out and you're claiming. If you can see my hand right now, it's like my hand's hitting the desk. And you're claiming and saying, I'm a leader and I want to stand out in a chosen niche and even an entire industry. And you can do this by just saying, I decide to be the national organization. And I have a whole way that I teach people how to name these networks really specifically. A lot of people don't take my program. They do it completely wrong, and they're just missing the boat on SEO. Again, I do all of my companies a certain way, and that's why the SEO is so rich, and that's why they go up in Google really quick. And I had to learn all this, through my own ways of building my company and just learning a lot. The beautiful thing about that first company, the National Association of Women Writers, is I was interviewing hundreds and hundreds of professionals, and they were professionals all over every industry because they were writers in every industry. And I learned so much. That's how I learned most of my marketing in the beginning. So serving, being the CEO of one of these organizations, you just get access to so many people. And I call them professional crushes. Those people you get excited about because you just met them and you're in awe of all their talent. And so that raises your vibration. Hard to do in service-based businesses. You can still do it, but it doesn't happen as quick and as fast because, again, you're not claiming that leadership. Typically, service-based businesses don't focus on products. Some do. Obviously, you can certainly put info products in a service-based business. But, again, you're not going to get as much traffic there because of the one-to-many subconscious factor that people have. People just don't want to do business with one-to-one. It's too slow. Whereas with a membership-based business, you can focus on products that members request because you have your own built-in focus group when you have members. They're writing you and telling you, and yes, sometimes they're complaining because that's what we do. But if you pay attention to those complaints, they're telling you exactly what to create next. I never have to guess what my people are going to buy because they're always telling me, and we're always paying attention. So you have that built-in database of targeted customers to sell to them. And remember, most of us join networks because it makes us feel good when we're starting out, right? I'm learning a lot about painting and energy because I want to do these energy painting classes at the office. And so it makes me feel good to buy anything I can in that world right now because I'm just pouring in all that information. Well, that's the same way I was when it was with the writers. That's the same way I was with the marketing. And so that's the same way everybody is. And so that's what you're creating also for them, and that's what I do. I create for people the same type of quality and information that I want for myself. I'm just always ahead of them because I'm learning it, right? One of the things that someone told me years ago, and if this is coming up for you right now, and you think, who am I to teach whatever my service is right now? Who am I to say I'm a leader of this? And even if you've been doing it for a few short years, it's like a big deal to say, that you're a leader of a network. And what I was taught a long time ago, it was so simple and it just flipped a switch for me. It was, she's like, okay, you may see all of these people in front of you standing in line, and all those people may know more than you. But if you just turn around and you look behind yourself in this line, you're going to see just as long of a line of people behind you that don't know anything about what you know about, and they're ready and they're waiting to learn from you. And that's how it will always be. There's no, for anyone who's been in business any period of time, there's no getting to the end, right? You're always in the middle. You're always learning. There is no end point. And so that was really great. That flipped the switch for me. I never needed permission to show my brilliance again. So if that worked for you today, that was worth being on the call. You know how we all have to hear something different, and so for me that was the switch flipper. A lot of people, it's the Marianne Williamson quote, where she talks about your brilliance and stepping into that. A little bit more on service-based businesses. Obviously, they don't provide the built-in equity. So these membership-based businesses, I talked a little bit about that on the interview. But what happens is you can even, like, in years when we were really building equity, especially with the National Association of Women Writers, you can even use the membership drives. When we'd always do one in December around the holidays, and we call it our holiday membership drive. You can use them as loss leaders. And so what that means is, like, you can even give people like 50% off during special membership drives, or discounts or 2-for-1s or whatever, but they build up equity at the regular price because your dues are regularly this one amount. So that's just one little trick of how we would build up equity in big, huge spurts. And so there's all these little things. Again, it's mechanics and business models that work really well. There's a lot of services that we would offer for writers that would cost me 75% of that when I would pay it back out to the people that were doing the services. But what it did is it increased my gross in the company, and so that big, huge gross amount was what you would take to the bank and show them, look how great my company's doing gross, even though a lot of it would go back out to the people doing the work, meaning the writing services that we were doing at that time. So these are just lots of wonderful things about the entity structure that you can play with. And again, I'm skimming over everything here because it's just so many things that you can't do in a service-based business. The last one was one that took me definitely a few years to step into, and it's the service-based business doesn't automatically provide that instant expert status. So what these membership organizations do is they naturally position you, the owner, as the go-to person in that chosen field. Obviously, you have to step into that, and you have to be that. Some of you, that's going to be really easy for you to do because you've been waiting for this. It's also, somewhat like being an author. So I combined, being an author, published author many times over, and I learned my marketing really well to where, now the last 3 books, we've hit #1 and stayed there for a while. So I'm really getting the hang of this. But what happens is, once you step into this, you're claiming it, and you can really position yourself as the go-to person for that particular chosen field that you've claimed that membership organization in. And what's powerful about that is that's how more opportunities come. More speaking opportunities come if you want to be a speaker. All the things that grow a business, those opportunities are given to leaders from the inside in special phone calls and special meetings, and people call you. Other companies will start calling you because, again, you're many now. They were never calling you when you were one. And so, this is how, all of our members would get free magazines from The Writer and The Writer's Digest. This is how I would get, printing companies to print all of our materials for free for our live conferences, again, because we were an organization. And the thing is with the internet and the power of this business model, you can do this from day one. They don't know how big you are. If you do the website, and website design goes a long way, so that's one of the biggest mistakes people make is they don't put money into their website, and it doesn't have to be a lot. The technology out there like Wix, which is, a website design place that's really cool. There's so many low-cost places to get good design now. There's just no excuse for bad design anymore. But that will go a long way for you and your organization because companies don't know how long you've been around. They assume any type of national organization has been around for a long time. They just make that assumption. So different types of service-based businesses, we're talking about everything. If you tell me a service-based business, I can tell you a way to make it scalable and make a network for it. So I have wedding cake decorators, just a few examples up here, web designers, coaches, consultants, professional organizers, copywriters, house cleaners, home decorators, child care providers, and so on. These are all groups of people that need access to common information and discounts that you can just be the person who wants to provide that. I've had many interests in the past, so I was, before the National Association of Women Writers took off, I was really into professional organizing, and I did that for a while because I was a Virgo, and I'm a recovering Virgo now, so I'm not that same person anymore. I used to love home decorating. Some of the things that, some of I'm trying to think of some businesses that you just wouldn't think would turn into a network, but I'm thinking of this one lady had a service-based business where she went and shopped for groceries for people all by herself. Well, in 20 minutes, I explained to her how to do that in an equitable, scalable way where she was sitting at home And now she had shoppers everywhere, and people were paying her a fee once a month, and now she had that fee times 20, and that was just the base. And so it was just, I can do this in seconds because I've just been doing it so long. Okay, so I'd love to play another video here in a second, and what this video is kind of just the inside of what all these videos are in this program, because this is a video program. We do have a level 2 of it that is also me coaching you. So what happens, again, because people struggle with mindsets, is they need to get on the phone, and what I do is I meet you right where you're at. So you're going to talk to me in a certain way, and whatever you say is absolute perfection. Because by the way that you say what you say, I'm going to know where you're at in that journey that I've been on, and I'm going to know what you need to do next, and I'm going to know the mindset you might be struggling with if you are having a mindset struggle. And what's so beautiful about that is I can meet you where you're at. So we have one program that's all self-paced, all videos, and it comes with this huge workbook that goes with each of the videos. And then we have another program where you get all of that curriculum, all the videos and the workbook, but then I get on a call with you once a month. And so that's how we teach this now. And for any of y'all who've been on the call and might know of me and know that I taught this in the past, what we used to have was a lot of different materials and CDs and DVDs and all kinds of different things and a map. And we've just simplified the whole thing, redid all of it, updated it completely, and now it's all Camtasia videos with one workbook. And you just go through very systematically and you implement. So it's really, really beautiful. Very, very proud of this program. This is the first year this program has been here. So real quick, I just love to go through what these 30 videos have. I'm just going to go through the titles, and then I can show you the inside of the actual information real quick, too. Does that sound good, Carol?
That sounds great. Thanks, Sheri.
Okay, wonderful. I thought I would take a breath, too. So let me take a quick drink of water.
Absolutely.
So the videos are actually broke up in groups of 10. And what I tell people, and this is what people tell me, too, is that don't consider this like, you need to rush through all of this and then you won't ever use it again. So most of the curriculum that I've taught and also that we've updated here also, because the first 10 is a lot of information that we took that we've taught before that is now updated, is meant to be like a lifetime library of information. So you will get to a point 3 years from now, and you will come back and you will look at your social network media platform building, and you will look at online marketing tools and offline marketing tools again, and you will get those same ideas that you never implemented because you're going to be in a completely different place and a completely different mindset a year later with your business. And especially if you're in startup, you have to get in the trenches, and there's just so much changing going on within your mind and your body and building a business in the beginning. This really is a lifetime library. So you're going to be coming back to this information, and you'll absorb it in a different way every time you do that. And I think any of y'all who, and I'm from Texas, so I say y'all every once in a while, but any of you who are lifelong learners, you know that to be true, that you can read a book 5 years later, and like even myself, I'll like have a quote underlined, and it'll touch me in an amazing way, and I'll know it must have done that before because I underlined it, and there it is again 5 years later touching me again. So so that's one thing I love to tell people. But the way that we created these videos is section 1 is all about creating the network, getting it up, getting it built quickly. And here's the thing, in business, speed is money. So the faster you build it, the faster you do these 10 videos, then you're up and going. The second 10 videos, and I'll talk a little bit about the names of the videos in a minute, is all about growing the network and building the passive income. So after you get past the first 10 videos, from then on, say it takes you 3 months to get past the first 10 videos, from that point on, you're in section 2 and section 3, right? Because you'll always be growing the network after that. You'll always be building passive income. You'll always be on that journey of entrepreneurship. The last 10 videos are advanced strategies to be a leader in your industry and create a movement. These are things that I've only taught in those mastermind meetings that I was telling you about, those $25,000 a year up to $100,000 a year. My $100,000 a year clients really got a lot of one-on-one and days in the office with me, so that's why they were paying so much. I was on call. That's essentially what that was. But these are the only places I've ever taught those advanced strategies. And so to be able to put all of this in one program now is just, for me, very exciting. As you can imagine, a lot better on me because I'm not working as hard as I used to. And I'm not having to travel as much. I get to be home with the kids. I get to paint a lot more. And I get, my bio said an activist. So, what these networks have allowed me to do is to get really ornery in my old age of 42 and fight for things like women's rights and be able to stand behind, the new governor that's, running for governor, here, Wendy Davis, that just I'm in love with here in Texas. So I can do things that are really passionate. And so that's what's the power of a really powerful business model. I can still put these kids through college, single mom again, so it's really important. And so I get really passionate about that piece too. But again, in the creating the network, we talk about in the first video how to create that brand. We're going straight into that, a lot of SEO in there, and then we're talking, and it's also how to name the company, because I talked to you about if you don't name the company a certain way, you're not going to get any Google benefits at all, any SEO benefits at all. Video 2 is choosing the membership benefits, and we talk about free versus paid. We talk about the pros and cons of each, and we go through that. And as you can see on the side of the videos, it goes into more detail, but I'm just going to give you the overall topics. Video 3 is choosing the entity structure and other important startup decisions. This is crucial because the power of an entity structure goes a long way in how you handle that money. There's a lot of wonderful things you can do with money when you're in a corporate type structure versus a sole proprietorship or an LLC. Video 4, creating your magnetic website that grows your database. That's what it's all about. It's creating that leverage. And there's lots of wonderful things we teach you in there, obviously. Creating your network social media platform. Let's see, we're over 50,000 on Twitter. We're over Facebook all together in there because there's multiple pages and profiles and all that fun stuff. I would say we're close to 30,000 there. I think our clout score is like in the 70s, which is really high. So I know my stuff in social networking, and I teach you all about how to do that. There's some third-party systems that actually do it for us. And boy, was I happy when I found those systems, because I used to pay people per hour to do the same thing as some of these, one-time cost softwares do. Creating your online marketing tools, creating your offline marketing tools, because we do both, approaching partners, advisors, and faculty. This is what people hold off way too long to do. I don't know why, but I have to push people so hard when I'm in a coaching relationship with them to get them to do this one. And I think it's the fear of rejection. And if you're not getting rejected, then you're not going to get yeses. You'll have to have no's to get to the yeses. So, but I can tell you from years of coaching, people put that one off too long. And I'm sorry, I'm spinning the little mouse around, probably making everyone dizzy. Video 9 is launching the network to the public. And again, you don't have to obviously go through some of these in order. You can skim them quickly, because if you want to launch and you want to just, because I am such a proponent of imperfect action and building the plane while you're in the air. So I love to get people launched quickly and then kind of pedal back while things are already launched and money starts coming in, and then learn more and then amp up my marketing. And so that's how I do everything. It's how I've always done everything. So I think, that's where coaching can really, really help people, is because you'll stall out because you really won't know the speed and the pace at which you need to take to get the results you're wanting. You may think these results will happen with a lot less effort than it actually takes, and that's quite common because you don't know what you don't know. Launching the network to the public was video 9, and I'm looking real quick at the time. And in video 10, how to lead and leverage like a CEO. That's a big one. It just gives you all these wonderful mindsets of how to be and how to act and how to think. And then real quick, the growing is a lot of wonderful marketing pieces. We also get into team building in there. We get into 2 videos on information products, creating them and selling them. And then we have a lot of marketing information, and this is really juicy, fun stuff. So we have something called the Focus Marketing Method, which I developed, and then something called the Infinity Marketing Model, which I also developed. And they're really great ways for people to think about marketing that's just not boring like the business funnel. We've all done the funnel thing, and business has actually changed a lot, especially with the internet, and it doesn't really happen exactly like the funnel anymore. We talk about nurturing affiliate partners, virtual conferences and telesummits, which I know everybody knows a lot about, but you'd be surprised what more I can tell you. We talk about live and virtual speaking. I mean, that's how I have built my networks in a big way. Once I got through my own fears, which I had to have a coach to do that, then I got on that stage, and I can tell you, one session on a stage in front of 50 to 100 people and more is 6 months behind a desk, behind an office, full-time, right? All that marketing you can do behind your desk and on social networks, you just get on that stage once, and those people see you, and you're that leader, and then they go off and talk to other people, and it just will propel you forward. So I'm always, trying to get people to do that because it's just such a great way to feed leads in your business. And then we talk about 6 tweaks to make to your network immediately that increase your profits, and they're just fun ways to increase money quickly, a lot of mechanics type stuff that you can do. Advanced strategies, publishing a book or series of books. This is obviously one of my specialties from being the CEO of the National Association of Women Writers for 10 years. Creating certification programs. I'm really good at that too. We have 2 certification programs at the Institute of Energy-Based Health right now, and that company's only existed since April, and it's already like doing so well and off the charts, so it's very exciting. Creating a live workshop, seminar, conference, done that a bunch, so I could teach you all about those things. Creating high-level coaching programs. So if you want to learn how to have 9, 10, 12 people paying you large sums of money and beyond, I can teach you how to do that and all the things that happen behind the scenes with that. And then towards the end we talk about systems and processes, because again this is more business mechanics, but a lot to learn. CEO time management, and then how networks communicate and what they want from you, which is just, I love that one because I love kind of getting into the way the communication happens, especially with the internet. How to build equity in the network immediately and over time. So that's some of that lost leader stuff I talked about earlier. And then the last 2 videos, how to manage your network's money while building wealth for yourself. So that one's a big one. And you can imagine how many mistakes I made along the way with that one because I was so busy doing everything else with kids and business and managing staff that, the money comes in so fast. How do you manage it well for its own health and the health of the company and the health of your family? So a lot to teach you there. And then the last one, exit strategies. What are you going to do once you don't want to do this anymore? And that's the whole point of this, is to have this thing that can, go off and be your legacy, right? That's the beautiful thing about a network. One of my favorite things about it is the legacy of the actual network. So I don't know that we have time to look inside the vault. I want to take questions, so you let me know.
Well, I have a couple of questions. So
Go
how
ahead.
long is the inside the vault piece?
I think it's like, let's see. Well, I'm looking, it says 10 minutes, so I could do just a little clip of it, and I think they'll get the idea really quick. But how about you want to do that?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, it just shows you that the videos, you push play, not too hard, but I think it's still great for people to see what it looks like on the other side. So obviously, once you're into the program, you get in here. So let me take it off mute. And this is really just a short video to show you a little bit about the program. See that yourself without me showing you this video at Network Building Academy. But what I am going to show you that you can't see without watching this video is the inside of everything that you get at the Network Building Academy. So I wanted you to actually see all of the videos on the inside and the infrastructure because you can't see that until you purchase. So this is a little sneak peek. So here at the Network Building Academy, just really quickly, what I do is teach associations. What I would do is I'm going to skip ahead. We coach them, and more than likely we brand, and a couple of those I've sold, and we talk about that in the program too. So really quickly on the outside, that let me get you to the inside. Get a lot of teleseminars, a lot of audio files. What I invite you to do now, really quick, and then you can just email us at info at Sheri Keys, the minimum. So you open them up. Okay, so now we're inside the vault. And then I go straight into teaching you. And what's great about these videos is you can make them bigger. You also open up the workbook, that's right here that you download in your screen, and the videos go along with the workbook. And and then it's a self-paced program. So you do the work in video number 1, and then you move on to video number 2. So you can go as fast as you want or as slow as you want, and it's just a really, really good program. Okay, so I think, let me get the echo. There we go. So we're back?
Okay, good. Okay, that's perfect.
Yeah, so it was really the last minute of the video, right? But I think it's just, everybody can kind of visualize it, but then if you can see exactly what it looks like, it's just really easy to process the information. I do have some special bonuses for people for this program, so I want to just put those out there. They're really easy for everybody to get, and I want to offer those for the next 3 days, and then I would love to take questions. So what you'll see again here is just 2 levels. There's the curriculum and the workbook, so it's all the videos plus the workbook, and there is the normal payment of $2,700 for all of that. And if you break that down per video, it's like $97 per video, I believe, which the information, again, like some of that I've only taught in the big masterminds. And then if you want me on the phone each month, then the price for that is normally $3,900 or $700, 6 months of $700 payments. So what I want to do for anyone who's ready to do this program, and you can decide over the next 3 days, I want to take $500 off of level 1 for you if you do a full payment. So $500 off level 1, it's normally $27, it would just be $2,200 for you. If you do the monthly payments, then what would happen for you is we would take off 2 payments. So you would only have 10 months of $250 for that, and that's the entire curriculum. If you want to coach with me, then I'm going to take off even more because it costs more, so I want you to have a bigger discount. And so I'm going to take $700 off this 1 payment, full payment, if you pay that. And then obviously if you are doing payments, I would take 1 full month off, so it would also be $700 off the payments. And the thing is obviously full payments are giving you also a discount built in versus the payments. So again, it's $500 off level 1 and $700 off level 2. And so that's really, really easy, and you have 3 days to make a decision on that because we don't want people coming 2 months from now and wanting the big discounts because then we've already moved to other type of marketing and it gets too confusing. But I hope that helps someone if they're ready to take the leap and to learn all this information and change their business model.
And should they go to your website, to networkbuildingacademy.com, to register for that, Sheri?
Correct. So if they want those special links, what I would have them do is email us at support@energybasedhealth.com. And just email us there and tell Amber, who's our customer service person, that they want to take advantage of discounts for whatever level they want to do, and she'll build them custom link and send it to them through email.
Okay.
So, because again, this is not out there. I very rarely do this, and it's usually on something like this, and so we don't even put it anywhere on a blog or a website or anything. It's like you had to be on this call and hear it here.
Okay, so that's support@energybasedhealth.com.
Perfect, yes.
Okay, I've put it in the chat box so people will have that, and just let them know to talk to Amber. Wonderful.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you, Sheri. I have a few questions that I think we have time for. Harriet has asked, and you started to cover it, and I'm sure that it is covered in your material, but maybe you can give us a quick answer. Do you have to be a 501c3 nonprofit, or can you be a profit-based business?
I love that question. It's one of my favorites because I'm actually really passionate about it, but I won't go too long. So I was a sole proprietorship for 3 years. Then I became a nonprofit in year 4, so 2004. Quickly learned all about that and how it slows you down to a screeching halt to do so. There's so much legalities around the way your banking and your CPA has to do things, and the way that a nonprofit has to run, that for me, who I was already so viable in marketing and moving so fast with my company when it was a sole proprietorship, it just like slowed us down to a screeching halt. So I dissolved it like 4 months into it, and then I went to an S Corp. And so I say all of that with a disclaimer of everybody has special situations. You live in different states, so I give you all the references and details, and I go much deeper to that in the video on entity structure. But really quickly, that answers your question of no, you don't have to be a nonprofit. I actually find them not viable, and I've actually walked the shoes of one. And so, the reason I switched to that is because I had this lawyer tell me that I should do that. And what I realized that day, which was such great information from then on, was never take advice from someone who actually hasn't done what they're talking about. He's done the job of being a lawyer. He had never run a nonprofit day to day, so he really didn't even know what I was going to be doing every day in a nonprofit, and neither did I, because I had never run one either. So, so I'm totally a proponent of for-profits, and there's a lot of wonderful entity structure information in that video.
Wonderful. Thank you. Harriet also asked, do you have to pay faculty for the Academy to get experts to contribute, or how do you ask them to be a free faculty member?
I just love Harriet's questions. So I would never, ever, ever want you to pay for most of what you're going to be getting. No, this faculty is an opportunity for them from day one to be affiliated with a national organization. They need to build up their positioning in whatever they're doing, whether they're actually, have a business or, it just depends on who you're asking and what you're getting them to do. But no, people love to be your faculty. You can get famous people that you wouldn't think would say yes to you to come and play. It's a lot of how you present the vision, and it's a lot of great website design will go a long way. And here's the other thing, is once one person says yes that is well positioned, then many people say yes. So, once you get someone who's successful, who's on board as your faculty, all the rest of us do is we're like, oh, I know her. If she said yes, then I'll go ahead and say yes too. And that's kind of how it works behind the scenes. And so there's a lot of fun stuff I could teach you on that.
Oh, great. Okay, thank you. Great answers.
You're welcome.
Now, Michelle Reggio has asked a couple of questions, and I think you may, again, have answered them a little bit. She wanted to know where she can get live personal guidance from you and what kind of support is available. So could you share a little bit more about your Level 2, which includes the coaching?
Wonderful, and I'd actually just scrolled to that, so I must have intuitively known. That's funny. I love that. So on the screen, you'll see the Level 2, which is the foundational curriculum plus the coaching, and it's really simple. You jump on the phone with me twice a month for 30 minutes, and there's a reason I do that, and that's for 6 months. And as you can see from just being on the call with me, in 30 minutes, you're going to have so much to kind of go off and do and to absorb and to kind of process that an hour is too long. Your brain starts to kind of short circuit at 45 minutes. So that's why I'd rather break up your hour in a month into 2 sessions of 30 minutes, because it also gives you more accountability, because you know I'm coming up again in a few weeks, and did you get that like one thing done in that 2 weeks, versus if you don't see me but once a month, on the phone, that's like a whole 4 weeks you can put something off. And so that accountability, I just love the 30 minutes broken up into twice a month, and then again that's for 6 months.
Right.
And the payments
a good way to do
right there. Wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And Michelle was just mentioning that she likes to move at her own pace. So I think that twice a month is a good way to look at it, because then you've got that support and that accountability. That's excellent. Okay.
Yep. And what I tell people is, even if something happens where we have a sick kid, things happen in that 6 months sometimes that we don't know are coming.
Right.
What you'll learn if you just make that 30-minute call, and of course we reschedule for medical reasons and all that fun stuff, but if you just absorb what you can, even if you don't implement it within 6 months, it's not like anyone's going to come and take what you just learned away from you.
Right.
That doesn't happen. So as long as you're on those phone calls and you're talking to me and we're taking notes, even if you can't get it implemented because major things could happen, that you're not losing the information. And I mean, I've learned so much from just being on the phone call with really amazing people over the years, just those coaching calls. One of my favorite questions to ask a coach is, if you could change one thing about me to make me more successful, what would that be? And boy, do I not like the answer sometimes. I go and change it, but I know I got to ask that really brave question and be ready to have the answer. And sometimes I have to go off and go, well, I didn't like that, but then I do it, and I'm so grateful that I changed it,
Yes, definitely. Well, Michelle says that she is going to email the support and get more information from you and Amber. So thank you, Michelle.
Wonderful. Looking forward to speaking with you, Michelle.
Sheri, that wraps up our time. That went so quickly. I wish that we had another hour to chat with you, because there's so much more that I'm sure that you could help us with. But I truly truly appreciate your time, and just want to thank you and thank you to the participants today. And just, on behalf of Practice-Based Solutions, please know that they very much support this kind of education and believe that this is what provides success and freedom in your business, is learning fabulous information like Sheri has provided us today. So also please make sure that you remember that you can call Practice-Based Solutions. They have free email, phone, and live chat support. And they offer free strategy sessions as well, including looking at your current systems. So there's lots of support out there for us as small business people. And Sheri, I truly appreciate what you have provided with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And I hope everyone has a fabulous rest of their day.
Me
Take
too.
care.
Everyone have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.